Welcome to Experience Oldsmar with the Mayor podcast. I'm your host, Mayor Dan Saracki, broadcasting live from downtown Oldsmar in the old R.E. Olds Bank Building. Welcome. My guest today is a special guest. I'm very excited to welcome President and CEO of Visit St. Petersburg Clearwater, Brian Lowack. Brian, welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor. And you know, I got to tell you, I am thoroughly impressed by this podcast studio you have here. I had no idea this was in here, and I love it.
I love it too. I'm just glad that you came to Oldsmar and came to this little podcast room that Mark, our superstar employee, built.
Great job, Mark. Thanks for having me today.
Let's get started. I am currently a new board member for the TDC, the Tourist Development Council. I was voted in by Pinellas County Mayor's Council to fill a seat for Tarpon Springs, Safety Harbor, and Oldsmar. This is a complete new learning experience, but I must say, for being at my first two board meetings, I am very impressed with your staff and the direction you are leading the future of tourism in Pinellas County, and I personally want to thank you for your leadership before we got started. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mayor, and thanks for being committed to tourism in Pinellas County and serving on the Tourist Development Council. And I got to tell you, we've got something in common. I'm just getting started in this as well, so this is new to me, so we can learn together.
I love it, and I appreciate everything you've taught me already in just the short 60 days. I understand you are a lifelong resident of Pinellas County. Where did you attend school in Pinellas County? And where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised here in Largo, Florida. Spent my entire 36 years on this earth in Largo, and I'm only about a mile now from where I was born. So I like to joke. I say I haven't made it very far. I attended Largo High School, home of the Largo Packers. So I like to represent for Largo High School anytime I get a chance.
I'm close friends with Woody Brown and Jamie Robinson and all the other board members in Largo, and that's a great city. I really enjoy it. What was one thing that has dramatically changed since your childhood?
Yeah, I would say probably the obvious to anyone who's familiar with Pinellas County is the growth of the county, and specifically Clearwater Beach, seeing that evolve from a beach that it was kind of a laid back vibe with a few motels, family owned, to now it's America's best beach, and it's got various properties at all price points, and it's just grown, I think, beyond what anyone could have ever envisioned. And then obviously down in St. Petersburg, and seeing that downtown turn into a premier destination far and away beyond what anyone thought of, specifically when I was younger.
If you ask me, it sounds like you're living the dream.
That's what I tell myself every day when I wake up. I have to pinch myself.
I bet. So you graduated from the University of South Florida. What was your bachelor degree in?
Yeah, I got my bachelor degree in economics. And funny how I got that was actually I went in as a business major, and then I got to the first day of accounting class. And I learned I got to go to what's a major that I can skip this accounting class and still in a relatively similar field. And I took an economics course. I fell in love. It was like intro to macro or microeconomics. Fell in love, and I went through with it and got my economics degree. And one of the best decisions I ever made.
That's great. So then you went back to school recently, attending Clemson Universities for your master's. What course was that?
Yeah, so attended grad school at Clemson to pursue my master's in public administration.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Now you have quite an extensive background working for Pinellas County. What was your first job with the county?
So first job going back now 12 years ago with Pinellas County, actually former county commissioner John Maroney. He called me one day and asked me to go out to lunch with him, actually. And I said, oh, that's pretty cool. A county commissioner knows who I am. Had no idea he even knew me. And I think maybe he's going to offer me a job. And we go to sit down, and the first thing he tells me is, just so you know, I'm not here to offer you a job. I said, oh, great. So then a couple months go by, actually, and he calls me up again and says, hey, you want to go grab some lunch? And I said, oh, okay. So we sit down, and first thing he says is, "How'd you like to come work for me?" His guy was actually going to work for the supervisor of elections, Deborah Clark at the time, and he had an opening, and I had the opportunity to go work with him, and that was my first foray into local government.
Thanks for sharing that story. I love John. He was a great guy.
He was.
And he was absolutely a mentor for me also.
We miss our buddy.
We do. We miss him very much. You worked for the Board of County Commissioners for a while. Can you share various roles you had?
Yeah, so had the opportunity to work for Commissioner Maroney for 5 years, and actually he wasn't going to be running for re-election, so I knew I had to look for my next move, and a vacancy became open up in county administration, and it was actually the intergovernmental liaison position, so it handles all the state and federal legislative affairs for Pinellas County. I applied for it, I got the position, and few years after that, actually the current county administrator came to Pinellas, and he created a new position to really oversee and coordinate projects and priorities for unincorporated Pinellas, specifically central and southern communities. And I had the opportunity to do that. Spent a little bit of time during the pandemic as the interim director of housing community development. And then the last 14 months now, actually 14 months today, been with Visit St. Pete-Clearwater.
Yes, because in 2023, you were named president and CEO of Visit St. Pete-Clearwater. How have you rebuilt the organization and your leadership team? And I'm looking forward to hearing this.
Yeah, so when I came on, the organization lacked leadership. The leadership team, those positions were vacant. And there were a number of other vacancies throughout the organization. And so that was my focus. I came in and I said, I better hire people that are strong. And also we need people that fit the culture we want to build over here. So that was my focus from day one. And I'm proud to say that we did build out that strong leadership team. And I think we've built a culture over at Visit St. Pete-Clearwater that allows everyone to really thrive, enjoy coming to work every day, and further accomplish our goals to bring folks to America's best beaches here in Pinellas County.
As I told you, just in the 60 days I've been working with you, I'm very impressed with all of your staff and your team. Actually, very impressed.
They're the good ones. They're the pros. They're the ones that really do the hard work, and I'm lucky enough to get the credit for their hard work. So shout out to the team.
I love it. So let's talk about your staff and establishing a focus on returning and expanding domestic and international travel to Pinellas County. And you talked about this a little bit at the board meeting. You're very vocal about this. Give some feedback on that.
Yeah, so I came on board and I noticed that in the travel industry, there was a trend to really try to be something to everyone. And quite frankly, that was not a direction I wanted to continue in. I think that we know that an overwhelming majority of our visitors are leisure travelers, and they're coming here for the weather and because it's America's best beaches. So I really put the staff to work and focused on ensuring that when we promote St. Pete-Clearwater, we're positioning ourselves as America's best beaches. And why are we America's best beaches? We're America's best beaches because we've got everything here, including the 35 miles of sugar white sand and the beautiful emerald green waters. But more specifically, we've got 24 different cities here in Pinellas County, and each one brings their own experience to the offering, and it's all here. We're really like 24 destinations in one. So we're focusing on that, and we're also back in New York City. We haven't been there since prior to the pandemic. So we've got a full campaign that just rolled out in New York City. If you're up there, you're in the subways, any of the public transportation, you won't be able to miss us. And then as we've seen the expansion of growth and population in the greater Tampa Bay area, we want to be in front of them and let them know that America's best beaches are right on their back doorstep. And so we're just started a large campaign in the greater Tampa Bay area to make sure we're getting people over here. And folks that may come for a day trip, get them to spend the night.
Yeah, I know all about that. The sand castle in Treasure Island last year, I attended that and I spent the night.
Yes.
It was a day stay. It was awesome.
Standing ovations, and that's a perfect example of They market that event to folks all over the place, but really to the greater Tampa Bay area. And I was out there. I talked to a number of folks from our neighboring counties that were spending the weekend in here specifically for that festival. So those are the kind of events that we want to be partnered with.
So at two of my board meetings, I noticed your team is really, really focused. And even when they do their presentations and they speak, they're focused on educating the local community on the value of tourism. And what are some of you talked about last meeting, you have a new campaign that you're planned. Why don't you share with the listeners what's going on with that?
Yeah, so two things I'll touch on there. The first is you began to get into it. First campaign we rolled out when I came on, it was I get to the boardroom and I say, guys, what's the next exciting campaign we're going to do? And they said, well, it's a value of tourism, and it's aimed at our local residents to talk to them about the value of tourism. I said, wait a second, our residents are already here. Aren't we supposed to be bringing people here? And then as the more I looked into it, I realized that we essentially have 1 million brand ambassadors here, our residents. So we want to make sure that we are informing them and educating them on the value of tourism. We all live here because of the beautiful beaches and the sports stadiums and the museums and the restaurants and the experiences that we have here. I want to make sure, and our team wants to make sure, that we remind them of the tourists pay for a lot of those events, a lot of that infrastructure. 100% of our beach funding that comes from visitors. So we've got a campaign we're excited about. We've been rolling it out. It's called From Visitors with Love. You can check out all the value of tourism associated with our From Visitors with Love campaign on FromVisitorsWithLove.com. And then we recently just went live our Funshine Savings Passport. And you can go on FunshineSavings.com. And we partnered with over 50 of our partners here, from restaurants, hotels, attractions, museums, aquariums. We've got tons of deals on there. And you just go on there, you download the passport. It takes I did it the other night. It took me 30 seconds, and you can go save around the county. So that's something that we're really excited about as well.
I just downloaded it and I'm just getting into it, but I'm really excited about using the app and saving money. It's always a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in times like this, you got to look for an opportunity to, anytime you can get a value, find a bargain, take advantage of it.
So, before I forget, let's talk about 727 Day real quick. Yeah. That was a huge event that you came up with that idea, right?
Yeah, 727 Day, again, to promote our the value of tourism. We partnered with the Tampa Bay Rays, and we actually gave out over 2,000 tickets to the game, the Rays game on 727 Day. We partnered with a local artist to create a 727 Day t-shirt, and we gave out 1,500 of those, and we activated at different restaurants throughout the county that day to talk to the residents about the value of tourism. It was awesome. It was the biggest one we've had yet, and next year is going to be even bigger.
I'm going to help next year. We talked about that.
I look forward to it. Yeah.
So tourism is an economic engine for Pinellas County. Can you share how $419 million in tax revenue was generated?
Yeah, so oftentimes here that tourism is our number one industry here in Pinellas County. Generates over $11 billion of economic impact annually. But specifically that figure you referenced, that is a number we're proud of, because $412 million just generated from visitors through sales tax. So when you talk about sales tax, visitors pay 1/3 of our penny for Pinellas, which you as a mayor of one of our cities is familiar with. And then also the bed tax, the 6% bed tax, and then the property tax generated by those hotels, motels, restaurants, tourism-related businesses. Altogether, that equates to over $412 million annually. And what that means to you and I and the residents of Oldsmar is that every single resident pays $850 less in taxes per year because of those visitors.
Thanks for sharing that. That's great information. So last year in 2023, how many visitors actually came to Pinellas County?
Yeah, so just under 16 million visitors to Pinellas County. So think about that. Our population here is 1 million. We had almost 16 times as many visitors come to our destination last year.
That's amazing. That's incredible. And I'm sure this year it's going to even be more.
We sure hope so.
Okay, so you and I, being new on the TDC, you and I have talked about the reporting. Right now, the reporting is with Oldsmar and Safety Harbor. I'd like to see that reporting of those tax revenue, that 6% hotel tax, divided so we can see how much Safety Harbor brings in and how much Oldsmar brings in. Now, I know you've been working on it. Can you give me just a short update of where we're headed for the future?
Yeah, so as we're all about, we're a data-driven organization. We've got a lot of data, and the tax collector's office actually provides us with a monthly report that we share with you all to show where those bed tax collections are coming from. And for the most part, it's broken down by portions of the county. So some of the larger cities are divided out by themselves. But then a lot of the cities who have fewer properties in them, rental properties, hotels, motels, they get grouped together. It still gives a pretty good idea of approximately where those bed tax collections are coming from. But I think it'd be valuable to look into if there are opportunities to really hone that in to get it a little bit more precise. And it's going to help us understand where folks are staying, and any data we can do, we want to get our hands on.
Perfect. What year was that report started?
Back in 1990.
So in 1990, I'm pretty sure the city of Oldsmar only had one hotel. Now we have 6. So yeah, let's work on that together. It's a plan, and let's learn together and let's make it happen.
You've got my commitment.
I love it. Okay, so last thing I want to mention before I go on is I want to make sure you are invited and your team is invited to our Gator Nationals on October 18th through the 20th. Riders and families from all over the world come here, and I want to make sure you come because I want to introduce you and your team because you're a big part of Gator Nationals and what you guys do for the city of Oldsmar.
I can't wait. It's circled on my calendar. I'll see you there.
I can't. You're awesome. So I understand you like to fish. What's your favorite fish?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. My favorite fish is probably a kingfish. I enjoy kingfishing. However, the fish that I fish for the most is probably redfish. Close second is snook.
Yeah, snook is my favorite.
I'm a flats guy.
I'm from Buffalo, New York, Syracuse area, and we used to catch walleye in Lake Erie.
Yeah, I love walleye.
Well, it's the same as the snook. It tastes the same. It's like the same fish. It's just one's saltwater, one's fresh.
Yeah, I'm still looking for the walleye fish fry around here. I can't find it.
I got one for you. I'll invite you.
Okay.
I'll buy.
Okay, let's do it.
I'll
buy.
Okay, there you go. So let's talk about the NFL. I'm a huge Bills fan. What's with the Packers with you?
Yeah, well, another season and looking forward to this season. They actually, I'm thinking they're going to be strong this year. I say this quite often, but they've got the hottest quarterback in the league. They had the youngest offense last year, youngest team in the league last year. They returned all their starters on offense. They upgraded at the running back position. And on defense, they made upgrades at safety, the second level with the linebackers. They added to their depth. So I think they're going to be a strong offense, probably lead the league in offense, and their defense, you're going to be tough to score against them. So I'm predicting a Super Bowl this year.
Oh, man, I hope so. Your quarterback's great. I love him. His name is Love. I love him. He's good. Yeah. He's a sharp player.
We call him J-Lo, and he's been fun to watch.
All right. Well, thank you. Is there anything else you want to share? Was there something else you want to talk about before we close out today?
No, I just want to thank you for bringing me on today. This is excellent. Anytime I get a chance to come up here to Oldsmar, especially with the mayor, I'm going to take advantage of it. So thank you, and to you and your team and this podcast, dude. I can't get over this. We got to do this more.
Exactly. We can do it again next year, and we'll talk about all the things we succeed in getting done.
You bet.
Well, in closing, I just want to thank you and your team again for inviting me into your group. And I've learned so much in just 60 days, and I really appreciate it. All right. Thank you, Brian, for being my guest today. To find a list of podcast segments, visit experienceoldsmar.com. You will see this pretty soon. I'm signing off. I'm your host, Mayor Dan Saracki. Until next time, visit the parks, visit BMX, go to the BMX track, go to the zip line, have fun, enjoy Oldsmar. Happy Friday and have a great weekend.